UFOs officially revealed. Shocking footage. Auroras sweep above the ridge as the villagers unpack gear. Maya aligns a tripod while Ken checks a telescope mount. They sight test the heavens, breath fogging in the cold air. The ridge becomes a quiet observatory beneath dancing light. Maya notes a glow. Ken steadies the tripod for a long exposure. Villagers form a loose arc, lenses tilting toward the Milky Way. Ken calibrates focus as Maya scans for drifting silhouettes. A faint shape halts, shutters and notes ready in cold hands. Maya and Ken trade a glance. Something moves, then freezes again. The semicircle tightens, all optics lock on the high arc. They flow onto a narrow path between scattered pines, gear in hand. Maya marks coordinates while Ken re-angles a tripod on the slope. A hushed glows shift in the distance beyond the dark pines. Ken steadies the alignment. Maya lifts her gaze, calculating. They move as one line, tripods stepping like measured metronomes. Maya drops to her knee, bracing the scope against the terrace stone. Ken steps in behind her shoulder, pointing toward twin lights sliding east. Scarves tug in the breeze, the aurora's sheen brightens their eyes. Maya steadies the mount, Ken's hand hovers, counting intervals. They lock their line of sight, tracking the horizontal drift together. A small group filters between stone cottages, phones lifting skyward. Ken slows near a doorway, Maya frames the drifting trio. Neighbors step out, faces tinted by the sky's soft colors. Maya signals exposure, Ken nods, timing the arc between roofs. The lane glows, footsteps slow as cameras drink in the night. On the summit, Maya traces the skies as Ken dials in exposure. A faint silhouette slides behind thin cloud. Ken steadies the tripod. Maya aligns the beam, their shadows stretch blue-green across the frost. They confer quietly, counting pulses as the objects brighten, then dim. Ken clicks the shutter for a long exposure. Maya holds the beam steady. Villagers gather around a table of gear as the sky flickers brighter. A notebook page fills with timings, soft light dances in the margins. They look up together as the distant lights flare, almost in greeting. A battery swaps in, instruments blink to life with gentle status glows. They mark a new sequence, breath clouding as the lights dim again. A sudden brightening washes the ridge. Maya steadies Ken by the elbow. Ken lowers the brightness. The lens flare subsides to a clean starfield. Maya points a gloved finger, tracking a lateral slide across the horizon. They reposition their stance, keeping toes clear of the brittle edge. With the flare easing, they ready a fresh series of exposures. Across the valley, cameras frame the river's auroral shimmer and pale clouds. A telephoto locks onto the pulse, fingers feather the focus ring. Cloud veils glow at the edges as the lights drift into partial cover. They synchronize shutters, counting softly between slow exposures. A lull settles, the valley rests beneath a vast, breathing sky. Ken murmurs to Maya. A tablet glows with star charts and plots. They compare positions. Maya gestures to a curvature in the data. A sudden streak curves across the sky, leaving a glowing brushstroke. Ken and Maya watch the ribbon fade, measuring beats against the chart. A new waypoint marked, they ready the next capture sequence. Floodlights carve hard lines across fences and crates at the perimeter. Two soldiers pause at the fence, scanning toward the glowing horizon. A radar dish sweeps, painting helmets and crates with shifting green. Patrol lines form along cones as a truck idles near the tents. Near the gatehouse, a guard checks badges as clouds glow faintly. Neon-lit radar consoles bathe the room in shifting green and blue. Captain Reyes leans over Sergeant Lou as jittery blips dart and halt. Zoomed display reveals abrupt velocity shifts and erratic headings. Reyes steadies himself, while Lou cross-references sector logs. A wall map populates with markers as the room sharpens its focus. Night vision optics align as a distant cloud bank glows from within. On the rail, two spotters track the glow, adjusting focus rings. Rotor wash ripples dust as crews clear the zone around the helicopters. A jet's canopy reflects the tower as engines spool in cold air. The glow intensifies behind thin clouds, drawing every gaze outward. Sergeant Liu runs with Captain Reyes toward the waiting helicopter. Battens trace arcs as crew clear the path and signal readiness. Reyes reaches the door, Liu angles toward the opposite seat. The radar building pulses, tinting clouds as they race to board. Jet crews signal along the taxiway as the helicopter spins up. Two helicopters rise, searchlights stitching white lanes through night. One glowing object darts left, stops abruptly, then rises in place. Searchlights rake the clouds as the jet banks hard toward the target. The object leaves a fading ribbon, a vertical stroke dissolving to mist. Aircraft align on headings as the anomaly steadies above the base. Reyes and Liu huddle over radios as auroral glow leaks through the tent flap. Reyes traces vector lines, Liu calls bearings to the flight crews. A burst of brighter glow prompts Reyes to adjust the plan. Liu nods, relaying new headings as the canvas flickers green. Reyes signals go. Outside, rotors thrum and lights sweep past. Soldiers line the tarmac as the jet banks hard in pursuit. The UFO pivots instantly, bathing the clouds in pale sheen. Troops track the reversal, fingers raised like rangefinders. The jet rolls upright, contrail ghosting through the glow. Inside the cabin, harnesses click as Reyes and Liu strap in. Reyes points through the window. The object zips past in a shimmer. Liu checks instruments, eyes flicking to the moving trace. The cabin steadies, the shimmer trail refracts across plexiglass. On the deck, rangefinders aim as the hovering light crowns the array. Beams converge, the halo paints delicate arcs across the dishes. A faint pulse brightens, casting crisp shadows along the rail. The craft holds, dish lattice glowing like a crown of frost. Navarro steadies the jet as Reyes' voice crackles in his headset. HUD lines jitter as the target jumps laterally, then freezes. Reyes relays new vectors, Navarro locks the reticle and breathes. The contact blooms, contracting rhythmically like a quiet breath. Floodlights carve stark geometries across the remote pads and towers. The glow condenses above Pad Alpha, tinting ladders and railings blue-white. Range structures shimmer as the object's halo ripples and steadies. Helicopters hold a racetrack pattern while the jet maintains distant cover. Dust curls at the pad's center as the light settles into a poised stillness. Sergeant Liu lowers binoculars beside Captain Reyes at the marked landing circle. The UFO slows, its glow pressing the air into spiraling, luminous eddies. Dust lifts in a luminous downdraft, tracing rings across the concrete. With a whisper, the craft settles precisely onto the circle's center mark. The light dims to a steady glow, instruments stabilize across the perimeter. Arun and Reyes trade a careful glance as luminous guests pause. The lab's reflections double every glow and every doubt. Arun steadies a panel while Reyes scans the new telemetry. The guest's light ebbs, hinting at a deliberate courtesy. Arun breathes in, ready to bridge light with language. A cart of strange devices glides toward the partition chamber. Light patterns intensify, sketching ripples across the walls. The chamber's threshold glows, inviting measured curiosity. Inside, instruments wait as the waves match their tempo. The corridor exhales, the work ahead feels precise and brave. Arun studies waveforms as the visitors raise open palms. Threads of light extend, syncing rhythms in steady pulses. Reyes observes, measuring trust one breath at a time. Arun aligns the phase as threads lock with the column. The chamber holds its breath, systems humming in balance. Under hangar lights, teams receive the craft with ordered calm. Containment fields shimmer as diagnostics spin up. NASA and military coordinate, eyes moving in practiced rhythm. The base settles, readings fall into narrow green bands. The craft waits, luminous and inscrutable, yet strangely welcoming. Arun and Vega convene at the hub amid layered holograms. Ribbons of light hover, translating intent into diagrams. Arun references the lattice while Vega locks parameters. The visitor's gestures refine a solution with quiet grace. A shared diagram stabilizes, a path forward becomes clear. Technicians bring the spectrometers online, bathing benches in cool light. Readouts stabilize as coils hum to field-ready tolerances. Cooling vapors skim the housings as parameters reach target thresholds. Calibration tags flash green across the aisle in a rhythmic sweep. Final diagnostics clear, the gallery holds a poised, expectant quiet. Dr. Vega confers quietly as the interface sphere blooms with structured light. Captain Reyes joins, eyes tracking beams that sketch equations midair. Data strata rotate, symbols wash across the ring like luminous tidelines. They compare notes as the sphere tightens into a precise lattice. Agreement reached, the ring glows with elegant, disciplined geometry. Teams crowd the holographic column, symbols pulsing in steady cycles. Feeds sync, telemetry lines braid into a coherent stream. Waveforms compress, then expand, as if breathing with the room. Security eyes the feeds, keeping watch over the suite's quiet order. The column steadies, bathing the suite in confident blue-white glow. Dr. Arun lifts the diagnostic glove, filaments coalescing between skin and light. The bridge stabilizes as Alien Envoy 1 answers with mirrored threads. Patterns ripple outward, tracing diagrams along walls and floor. Metrics align. The filaments weave a stable, luminous topography. Exchange secured, the platform settles into a calm, precise radiance. Scientists take seats as planets blossom into floating, warm-lit orbits. Arcs layer, illustrating transfer windows and gravity assists. Notes fill with sketches as the models rotate in stately cadence. Trajectories resolve. Overlays label corridors and safe margins. The theater holds its breath as scenarios converge into one elegant solution. Nina watches the star map expand, absorbing every shifting contour. The envoy threads light between constellations, translating with effortless grace. Vega leans closer to Nina, clarifying the orbital corridor's logic. Nina scrolls the timeline, syncing captions to the luminous overlays. Vega confirms, the corridor is stable, not a chase but an invitation. Devices bloom to life as grids ripple across the benches. Dr. Vega stabilizes a module while the gridlocks phase. Dr. Arun tunes a resonator, coaxing a clean interference null. Vega and Arun compare readouts, aligning phase across tables. The lab settles into harmony, every ring breathing in unison. A timeline unfurls over the table, each milestone locking into place. Vega records annotations as the lattice rotates in slow precision. Aaron tags a window where the corridor and lattice intersect cleanly. Vega cross-checks contingencies, confirming power margins and buffers. Together they lock the plan, clean, phased, and ready to brief. Declassified clips roll as quiet notes fill the dim room. Nina flags a match while a scientist pins cross-references. Across the aisle, a scientist stabilizes a clip for clearer metadata. The room converges on a timeline, pieces aligning into pattern. Beyond the glass, the silhouettes brighten, as if acknowledging. Nina scrolls carefully while Vega watches for key correlations. Tiles bloom with photos and timestamps, forming a crisp mosaic. Vega indicates a cluster. Nina marks it for deeper review. Cross-references align, a narrative line emerging from fragments. Nina exhales, nodding. Vega's eyes confirm the pattern holds. Journalists and scientists gaze through the glass into the humming lab. Holograms ripple across instruments while observers confer quietly. They mark timestamps, comparing the lab's output to archived incidents. A quiet realization settles as patterns align across the displays. Nina and Arun review clips, the alien's glow drifting beyond glass. A frame pauses. Arun points out a correlation with recent telemetry. Nina cross-references files as the lab's glow pulses rhythmically. Arun relaxes as patterns synchronize, hinting at a coherent narrative. Teams suit up as devices spin up and fields map across the bay. A containment frame hums, and sensor arrays flicker to calibrated readiness. Reyes inspects harness points while fields shimmer through suspended markers. Scientists exchange signals. The base steadies into a controlled test phase. Reyes signals to Vega as arcs crawl within the containment frame. Diagnostics stabilize. Vega fine-tunes parameters across floating UI bands. Reyes verifies safety margins as energy threads settle into alignment. They exchange a glance, confident to proceed into the next sequence. Scientists monitor tablets while aliens operate devices with calm precision. A brief magnetic catch lifts tools. Indicators pulse in warm rhythmic patterns. Reyes steadies near the rail as the lattice settles into a stable configuration. Arun and Reyes share confirmation as systems hum within safe ranges. Arun braces Reyes as the field ripples across the chamber. Shields quiver, instruments flutter with colored fringes. Reyes steadies himself. Arun keeps him anchored. The surge softens, halos settle into a steady glow. Arun nods. Reyes relaxes as the hum evens out. Teams gather as the aliens unveil an integrated energy model. Vega links a module. Filaments knit pathways between nodes. Arun validates readings as the lattice gains coherence. Envoy 1 narrows the model to show power handoffs. Teams circulate, confirming stability across connected stations. Villagers hike back to the ridge as new lights rise from the horizon. They set tripods at the overlook, composing frames beneath dense auroras. They glance upward as the formation widens and reflections shimmer on rivers. Final checks click into place as the craft climb toward zenith. Wide lenses open, the valley answers with a quilt of mirrored light. Ken locks focus while Maya raises a gloved hand to track the arc. She steadies the lens as the leading craft feathers a pale tail. They shift half a step to maintain composition as the arc sweeps left. A perfect stillness settles as the formation crests overhead. They lower the camera, satisfied, while the trails diffuse into night. Teams watch as the luminous visitors dial their radiance to a hush. Tabletops keep glowing faintly as devices settle into safe idle. Observers exchange nods, accepting the quiet with measured relief. Final logs are marked as the room's light settles to a gentle blend. Vega and Arun pause above the main bay, watching data dissolve into sparkles. They lean on the rail, letting the room's afterglow breathe. A soft halo traces their silhouettes as the last holos fade out. They turn from the railing, decision made without words. Teams arrange statements as archival reels drift across side screens. A headline template locks as a journalist rehearses the opening line. Questions shuffle quietly as technical clips ready in the queue. They take positions, steady and composed, before the record begins. Under the suspended craft, Reyes clasps Arun's hand, relief soft in their eyes. They step aside, the craft's sheen rippling across idle panels and cable trays. Reyes gestures toward the quiet consoles. Arun answers with a grateful smile. They share one last look beneath the ship, then release the handshake. Beyond them, the hangar breathes quiet as the ship's glow settles. Villagers spread across the ridge, aiming lenses as auroras surge overhead. Across the valley, multiple craft glide, their light brushing the river bends. Murmurs of awe pass as people fine-tune focus rings and tighten clamps. A craft banks gracefully, cameras tilt, shutters poised for the arc. The panorama holds a collective breath as the heavens brighten. Ken frames a finale shot while Maya points to a banking craft beyond. He adjusts aperture, she steadies the tripod leg against the slick rock. Maya calls the drift, Ken realigns to capture the luminous trail. They share a quick grin as the shot locks in perfectly. The ridge hums with quiet celebration as the sky keeps flowing. Silhouettes stand against color, eyes lifting as the procession begins. Faces catch the glow as lenses tilt upward in practiced unison. The camera pans from intent faces to the star-dense heavens. Breath plumes drift as trails thin and dissolve into night. The valley holds the moment, then lets it slip upstream into the stars. Maya lowers her telescope beside Ken as the last craft slips away. They exchange a question without words, breath curling in the cold air. The ridge returns to stillness, the heavens continue their patient dance. Ken folds the tripod while Maya caps the eyepiece, movements unhurried. Why? They stand at the precipice, the aurora a lingering question above.